TST Gaming.
What's up, guys? Michael here, and today we're on to part 6 of the Secrets of Angmar series that I'm doing for the One Ring, the One Ring 2nd edition by Free League Publishing, and we're nearing the end of our journey. I really think this is going to be done by episode 7 or so, and so we're getting towards the end. I appreciate it if you've been coming along this entire time. Just to give you a recap, where we're at the moment is that Baranor, my character, Ranger of the North, is looking for his estranged father, Eridan, son of Pallas, and he basically is looking for him because his father's been acting irregular. And so his patron, Gilraine the Fair, aka Aragorn's mother, asked him to seek him out. He went first to Weathertop and ran into Kirian, another ranger who used to travel with his father, and together they went to Fort Arliss, and they looked for clues in the spider-infested fort. They didn't find anything, and so they returned back to Rivendell, where he had started, and they didn't have any clue where to go next from their patron or anything, but they were able to get some horses, which, speeds things up. But then he, as in Kirian, the ally, decided to check out the Ettendales because he knew that Eridan had been looking for some old and lost lore about some things, and that would be a good place to look for it, considering that there's a lot of trolls in the area. And we found a broken tower and had a brief encounter with a footpad that we killed, and then found some scribblings that it was forged in Angmar. Now, we had already been borderline getting weary, getting really tired, so before we decided to go to Carn Dûm, the capital, if you will, of Angmar, we decided to rest in Bree. And then we got very lucky on some travel rolls and got to Carn Dûm without too much difficulty until right before. And then there we met Helvarn, and that is a ghost that we almost fought, but we were able to persuade that we were of good intentions and that we're just looking for my father and whatever it is he's looking for, this artifact. And it turns out that Helvarn is the forger of this blade of Angmar that the Witch King had designed in order to increase power over the undead of control, or to give it to a lieutenant or some other mysterious reasoning, but that it had been buried at a battle long ago that the Witch King had been in. So, but that he didn't know where it was buried to himself. So we traveled back to Bree, rested up. We encountered, I believe it was another ranger. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And basically was told that we need to go to Fornost because that's where my father was seen either heading or going. So that is where we ended up. And it's been quite a ride, quite a journey. Lots of travel events, as you can see by the exclamation points on my screen. And we've really investigated 1, 2, 3, 4 places. And now we got to make the trip north to Fornost. So the first thing we're going to need to do is do a travel check. So, I have a map, which gives me bonus die and support from a companion, because he's swift. Let's see how we do. Success. So we get to move 3 spaces before an event. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, move it to 1, 2, 3, because we're going to go mostly along the road. There's no reason not to. Now, it is in what would be considered Old Arnor, which if you've been watching the series, you should know by now is the ancient kingdom of men in the north that was taken down more or less by the Witch King. Similar to Gondor. It's from the what is it called? Numenor. One of the kingdoms of Numenor that had been settled like Gondor. And so they created Arnor, but it had split into 3 different areas, and one by one had kind of fallen to the shadow of the Witch King. So I get to roll. Normally, again, just for clarification, this is just because of my patron's ability. So normally in this game, you don't see this as a player, this map. You just see, we'll just say the yellow hexes all over. But the Lore Master map, which is what I'm using, the green, the orange, and the yellow all represent different types. So the green is what's called a borderland, which means you roll the feat die, the 12-sided die, twice and keep the best of the two results to see what kind of event you have. And then with the yellow spaces, it's just a, I think it's called, what is it called? Hold on, it's going to be in the corner of the map here. Wildland. So Wildland, you would just do a straight 1d12 roll and see what you get as a travel event. And then for the Darklands, which is orange, you get 2 rolls. You take the worst of the 2. So what we're doing here is we now have to roll, because my patron's ability allows me to act as if anything in Old Arnor is green, more or less. I get to roll the best of 2, and I do 1 to see what on the table it's going to be. Alright, so we got a 4 and a 4. So now we're going to go to the tables here. The lore table. Well, not the lore table. The solo journey events. So we got a 4, which is a mishap. I'm going to put that right here so it's a little bit easier for everyone to read. So if the roll fails, add 1 day to the length of the journey and gain 1 additional fatigue. But we're going to gain 2 fatigue regardless. So we're going to type in, go here. It's going to be mishap. And, we didn't see what it was yet. It was 4 and 4. So 4 was mishap. Shortcut mishap. Elusive quarry. Hunting to track it down. Okay, so Kirian and I have been, even that we were in such a hurry, we'll say, to catch up with my father. We didn't have time to really get provisions. We're like, we'll just get them in the wild. We got to book it there. And so we need to do a hunting check to see if we can track down some food. Otherwise, obviously, we're going to be more fatigued. So let's go ahead and do a hunting check. Now, hunting is a favored ability of mine with the check mark, allowing me to roll defeat die, because you always roll defeat die no matter what, and then you roll the d6 for every level that you have in that skill. But it allows me to roll defeat die and keep the best of 2. So my companion is swift, so I'm not going to use that for companion help. I'm just going to do a straight roll. Ooh. Automatic success. So we do get 2 because it says if the roll fails, add 1 day to the length of the journey and gain 1 additional. But instead, we just gain 2 fatigue, and we should be. Oh, I didn't update that. Our hope is maxed out and our load is maxed out. I'd done the math in between sessions because I had known that somewhere along the line, either because the system automatically deducts your hope, but I had been doing it a little bit here and there, and so it kind of threw off the thing. So I had to go through each episode that I've done up to now and make sure that I had enough of those 3 points of the fellowship points that you get per session, in my case, to restock my hope. So now we got 2 fatigue. Puts us at 15, so we can handle about 11 more points of strain of sorts. And they don't use the term strain, but that's just what it is, because it's fatigue plus your load combined, and if you take any damage as well. So I just like to kind of blanket it as a type of strain. So that was this one. I did put the journey event there. So now we got to roll again for travel. We're getting help from the companion and a bonus die for my map. Success. So we got to go 3 more spaces. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I would say that there's another event there just because it does land on that 3rd one, in my opinion. Well, let's see. Where's the road go? 1, 2. We'll actually angle it that way. Oh, there we go. So 1, 2, 3. So we're there, but we got to handle an event first, just because I feel like that's fair. If it was something that went 1 space beyond that, I wouldn't have done that. But since it lands exactly where we're trying to go, I feel like you should. So with the travel event, we get to, again, roll 2 feet die, because this is in Old Arnor. Fornos was actually a very well-known city of the time, back in the day before it had fallen. Let's hope for something good. Ooh, we almost had a 6. The higher usually the better. So we have a 4 and a 5. So 4 is mishap. Oh, I didn't put that in there. So 2, mishap, tracking quarry. Might spell that wrong. And it was a success. We gained 2 fatigue points. Mishap. We don't know what this one is yet. We said it was a mishap and a 5. So we go back to the table here. Mishap. Rough terrain. Explore to safely traverse. Okay. And this is the exact same consequences, that if it fails, we add 1 day to the length of the journey and 1 additional fatigue, but we'll be gaining 2 fatigue nonetheless. So there's a lot of ruins in this area, so we'll actually kind of play into it a little bit. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So as we approach, let me delete that, to Fornost, that we are kind of going through some ruins, trying to look for my father or any signs of digging or anything disturbed, anything that looks out of place, especially of a recent nature. And so we are walking around, and there's a lot of rubble all over, so we have to be careful to traverse our path through. And so that's what we're going to do. And I said it was explore. Okay, explore. I'll do a straight check. I kind of want to save my hope for the moment. I should have used it. So failure. So that means that it adds 1 day to the length of the journey, and we get 3 fatigue. So failure. Traversing rubble. We get 3 and not 30. That'd be bad. Add 1 day to the journey. All right. So, but now we're here. We're at Fornost, and with this, we're gonna say that. Well, let me do a search check, which is a scan. I will be spending a point of hope. I will get support from a companion because he is swift, but no other bonuses. Okay. So we're not seeing any sign of my father yet. I had wanted to do it. I meant to do it as a, a skilled endeavor where it's multiple, like we did before. So we'll keep that as our first role within that, but I'm going to do it as a skilled endeavor. But first I need to figure out, again, because it's been a while, how skilled endeavors work. Actually, I think that's in the core rules. So we're going to go index, skilled endeavor, or skill endeavor sequence, 132. All right. So the first thing we do, because I've only done this like once, we need to decide if it's simple, laborious, or daunting. I would say laborious because it indicates a difficult and time-consuming affair. I mean, it's a fairly large city, like searching a wide area to find a lost item or person. Making sure... Yeah, we'll go with laborious. Now, set time limit if we don't have enough time, but we have plenty of time. The time limit is set to 6 or more. I'm just going to do 6. Well, we'll let the telling table decide. And we'll say, do we get more than 6 tries? And if it's 6 or higher, that means yes. We do not. So it's going to be 6 tries regardless. So, and I already failed the first one, so that's not good. So then we have to do an execution to figure out if we did it. And I wanted to say that your 6 is counted. I think I said that in a previous episode, so I may have been incorrect on that. Failing skill rolls. Okay, it's not that, but what about passing? No, passing does work. It's just not listed here. Sometimes the way that the one thing I don't like about the way that it's written is that, for example, fatigue and how to recover it is listed as 2 separate things that you might see. And so it's one of those things where it's just like, I wish they put everything together. But no, because technically when you get a bonus 6, or a 6 on your 6-sided dice, it counts as like a bonus and adds to a success of that. So I am correct on that. It just doesn't say it here. So we have 6 turns. We had 1 failure, so I'm just going to say, we'll say success, if I can spell. We're going to say pass, fail. 1. And limit. Well, actually, that was the time limit was 6. Time limit 6. We said it was laborious, which means we needed to get, I believe it was 6 as well, wasn't it? Yes, so we need 6 and 6. So limit, or goal, is 6. So, that was 1. Now we go back to the game. I'm going to spend another point of hope. I probably shouldn't, but I will. Because scan is not my best, and I do get support from a companion because he's swift, so we're looking around pretty quickly. Great success. So we get 2 for that one. So 2 pass. And that was our second turn. I need to actually put that in there. Turn. So now we're on turn. That was as of turn 2, we'll say. So turn 3, I've spent how much hope so far? 2 already? I'm going to spend a third one. I really want to try and get this resolved. Success. So we get, that was turn. Whoops. Turn. That was supposed to say 2. And we're at 3. So we still have 3 turns to get 3 yeses to find him. And I'm going to be dipping into actual hope. So what I've been doing most of this time, I've been paying, if you've been following along a little bit, you may have noticed that I try to spend about 3 hope per session. Again, that's because my fellowship allows me, in my case, to get 3 bonus dice when I rest to replenish myself with 3 per session. So I've been trying not to dip in that too much. But we're getting towards the end of the campaign, if you want to call it that, the adventure. And so I think I'm going to spend a point of hope. Because, again, I really want to find my dad, and I'm hoping that we find something good. Great success. Barely, it seems like. What did we get? 13. Oh, we got... Okay, yeah, it was super close. So, great success, 5, and that was turn 4. Okay, so I'm not going to spend any more, because we're just going to hope, but I am getting support from a companion. Let's wish for some luck here. Awesome. Great success. So that puts us at 7 out of 6. As of turn 5. Alright, so we find we should say. Let's kind of set the scene a little bit. So, again, Fornost is these ancient ruins where a great battle took place. In fact, I believe it's called Dead Man's Dyke, or something to that effect, and near it is these fields. I think it's to the left. The Fields of Slaughter, or something to that effect. I'm not going to look into it now because I don't want to waste any time. But it's a place of a huge battle that happened between the Witch King and the Numenorians that lived here of Old Arnor. So, picture a ruined castle, abandoned, desolate. We'll say it's gray skies, and it's a little chilly for, we'll say, I'm guessing it's April. I haven't checked the calendar on my side, but we'll say it's April, May. But either way, it's a chilly day. It's a little bit northern, and we've been finding holes in different area that have been dug freshly, and nothing's there. There's no other sign of my father, and we get towards the end where we're thinking we're not going to find him, and all of a sudden we hear it, and we're going to stealthily do this. Actually, let's see, we're going to try to sneak up on him first and see if we can do that. My companion is swift, so I would say that if he's swift, he's capable of controlling his movements and whatnot. So we're going to go with that. Automatic success. Sweet. So we sneak up on my dad. Now, we're not trying to attack him or anything, but we don't want to... We didn't want him to notice us and just flee or do anything, because we don't know what he's going to do. He's been acting irregular. Now, keep in mind, this is the first time my character, Baranor, has seen his father. He's 36 years old, and the last time he saw his father was when he was 17. So it's been almost 2 decades. After his mom died in Archet, which is right around Chetwood over here in Bree. So, I would say that Baranor wants to say something, and he doesn't think it's going to be a problem. But then as soon as he goes to say something, like, the words get kind of stuck in his throat. And then Kyrian doesn't have that problem because he doesn't have the same relationship as my father as I do, but they have a friendly relationship because they've bonded together over the years. And so Kyrian says something to the point of double checking something. All right, Eridan, you need to stop your search for this blade. And we'll say at this time, my father, he freezes. His back is to us, but he recognizes the voice, and he's knee deep in dirt. There's a lot of piles of dirt around him, and he slowly turns around, and I'm gonna pull a picture up of him I was making sure I had a picture of him before I said anything. Why is that not showing very large? Let's see if we can just put a token here. So we're going to put all the characters into play here. They didn't really have a piece of art for Fornost that was built into this game specifically. Oh, sorry, I can fix that. Give me a second. We'll put him here. Kind of put us in the... What the heck? What's going on, Kieran? What you doing? Alrighty. So we'll say, like, this is kind of the positions that we're in. And I picture with the ruins that he's in, that it's like half the wall's been destroyed. That's the area we're coming into. But there's still, like, a wall in front of him and a wall to the side of him that are connected. And maybe a little piece that's kind of broken around the top where there must have been a floor at some point ahead of, way past. But he kind of stoops up and he turns and he has a manic look in his eye. And I'm going to zoom in on the pictures so that way you can kind of get a better view of them. I'm trying to put them on the right side so that way my face doesn't cover anything. But he turns and he's got this manic look in his eye. But also there's a spark of joy, almost a spark of madness. And he turns around and he first sees Kyrian. And then he notices someone else and his eyes quickly dart to me. And his eyes grow wide. And he says, Baranor? And with the words in my throat, Baranor would say, it's me, Father. And Eridan repeats himself, Baranor? And Baranor doesn't answer this time. But he's still half turned, so his back is still somewhat towards us. And he almost forgets where he's at the moment, but he turns almost in disbelief. And you can tell he's tired, he's dirty, he's sweaty. But as he turns, he drops the shovel that was in one hand, and in the other, he has the Blade of Angmar. And the Blade of Angmar, the way I pictured it at least, is that it's a black sword, like black hilt with kind of like a wavy designs in there to the hilt itself, and with like that kind of curved, almost snake-like hilt. And as he's holding it, the blade I always pictured being somewhat, well, maybe a little bit wider than you would think it would be, but not too wide. And it goes... I'm not
sure I understand.
Apparently she's listening. And it goes to a point. It's not a very long sword, but it's a sword that has a darkness about it. In fact, with the darkness, what I'd like to do, to be completely fair, is do a... Let me double check this here. A shadow check. I don't remember what it's called. Specifically, it's been a minute since I've had to play. Valor and Wisdom. No, we're going to do actually Lore Master, Sources of Shadow. Because we haven't had to do one of these, so we're going to do what's called a shadow test. So, what we're going to do is, with Sources of Shadow, there's Dread. There's different types. So there's Dread, Greed, Misdeeds. So we have to decide... Oh, and Sorcery. I almost feel like it would have to do with Sorcery, because it's something that... Oh, there's also Madness. Oh, that's something else. That's something else. Okay, so Sorcery. It's a wisdom-based test. So, but we have to decide... No violent threats. Torment, theft, or plunder. I would imagine that it's incredibly powerful. So we're going to say... I'm actually going to say it's up to 3 shadow points, to be completely honest, because I want it to be dripping with the shadow, because it was made not by the Witch King, but designed by the Witch King. It's been spending a lot of time in Angmar before it had been buried here in Fornost. So what we need to do is roll a shadow test, and we said it was going to be wisdom. Now my wisdom's only a 1, because when you start out with 1 wisdom and 1 valor, and when you level that up to a 2, that's basically your roll. So a 1 is it should be a feat die, and 1 6-sided die is my understanding. So, and I've already spent a point of hope, but I'm going to spend a point of hope. I'm not going to count my honorable companion to be support, because I feel like this is something that's touching me. It's like the ring, where it's it's affecting you as an individual. It's not something you're taking on together. So I'm just going to do a straight check, well, with the point of hope, and I failed. So I gain 3 shadow points temporary. Like, that's how evil I want this thing to be. Now, my hope is at a 5. So if it gets matching or below, it starts to cause problems. So we don't want to do that. But I wanted it to start getting a little bit darker, so that helps. So I've had a bit of a sore throat today, so I've had to kind of drink a lot. So we see my father, and he's got the Blade of Angmar. And he's not even focused on the Blade of Angmar at the moment. He just sees me. Let me take this off, sorry. And he's almost in disbelief. Because the last time he saw me, my character probably didn't have a beard. I mean, he was 17, you know? And didn't look as seasoned, didn't look as serious. I'm no longer that boy that he once saw. I'm a man now. And he almost loosens his grip around the sword, like just a little bit without realizing it. And then he feels the weight of it shifting. And then he looks down and quickly grabs it. And it reaffirms his mission, that this is what he's trying to do. And so Kyrian and I ask him, not necessarily in unison, but we ask him in general, what are you doing with that? And he says, I want to end the darkness in Eriador permanently. And Kyrian asks him how. And Eridan kind of looks back and forth to him and me, but he keeps lingering his gaze on me a little bit more, almost like he's still in disbelief that I'm even there. And he says, with this blade, I can control the undead. We can use that as a weapon against the evils that try to threaten Eriador. Blood of Numenor that's left in us will not be spent defending against an ungrateful peoples. We can reclaim our rightful place as the rulers and rebuild Arnor to be something stronger. With an army of undead, the forces of darkness will have a hard time to invade, and we can grow once again in numbers and strength. And so my character, he doesn't even know what to say to this. He's just like blown away, because I mean, you just think, oh, we're looking for a father. He's kind of went off reservation, but he's already been kind of off the reservation mentally ever since my mother died, so he wasn't expecting anything crazy. And this is a little crazy. While it could be a good plan of sorts, at what cost? We can already tell just from the shadow test that this thing is dripping with evil of sorts, and the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that's kind of the path that I kind of wanted for Eridan. So with this, Kyrian says, you need to leave this blade, and we need to get out of here. There's a darkness in this land that should not be disturbed. And Eridan looks in disbelief to Kyrian, as if, like, how do you not see the bigger picture here? And he says, I'm trying to defend everybody. I'm trying to protect everyone. I can save us all. And Baranor says, we don't need saving. What we need is to stop darkness from reclaiming these lands. But using darkness to fight darkness is only going to enact chaos and invite destruction. And Eridan, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a persuade check here. Now, I do get a support die from a companion, but I'm going to make it harder, because I feel like, well, let's see. So my normal thing is 13. I kind of feel like I should lose 2 dice. Like, he is already off the reservation. He's literally holding it, and I think I'm going to make it a little bit harder. We're going to add another 3, so we're going to make it 16, target number. I'm not spending hope. I don't know. Did I cancel that? If I did, sorry. Alright, so we said we lose 2. It's 16. And we gain support from a companion. Roll. Oh yeah, triple ones. Yeah, so it's definitely a failure. And because I wanted to make it a hard thing. Like, this isn't something like he's just going to, oh yeah, okay, sure. It was meant to be something where he's really been trying to chase this for months, if not longer, and we've just been tracking him for that long. And so he looks at both of us, almost studying us, and he notices that there's horses kind of off in the distance of our 2 horses. And he says, I'll come with you, but the blade is going with, because it needs to be somewhere safer. And I'm going to roll an insight check to tell if he's lying or not. I know it kind of seems redundant because I'm also the GM of sorts, but just for fun. Yeah, so my character, he's just like, okay. Evil blade, shouldn't be out in the open. Yeah, okay, sure. Let's do that. And we're planning on heading to, where should we head to? So Kyrian asks, where should we go to hide it? And we're going to say, is it, I'm going to say the word nearby. And we're going to say it's likely. Okay, so it is going to be somewhere nearby. So we have Anuminas. We're not going to put it in Hobbiton. That makes no sense. We could bury it in the North Downs, which is more hills, which would be more hidden most likely, because it's not really a location of the same way that Fornost is, where you would think a lot of treasure hunters have already been. But we'll just say that, let's see, there's Weather Hills, Chetwood. We're going to do 50-50. Is it Chetwood? No, but with a twist. Okay, so let's see what the twist is. Now, again, with the way this works, I always do it with all 3, but there's 3 categories, or columns. And so you roll a feat die, and whatever it rolls on, that's the table you roll. Then you can roll d6 for an action, an aspect, or focus. Now, I like to do one of each, so I have more inspiration to pull from. So we're going to do 1 and 1. So we don't need to go to Chetwood. I was thinking of burying it in the forest, in case you were wondering. It was a 2 and a 3. 2, well, this is feat die 2, and 3, command. Okay, that's not good. Then we do 1 and 1. A 1 and a 3. A 1 and a 3. Bold. And then 1 more set. A 2 and a 2. Which is 2, death. Command bold death. Okay, I think I know where this is going. So, we turn thinking that we're, going to be doing something together. And he raises the blade. And I happen to look back in time to see him do this. He raises the blade of Angmar, and it glows a sickly green. And you start seeing a couple spirits, a couple whites, rising up out of the ground and kind of being almost summoned to this area. And they're starting to surround me and Kyrian. And while we're getting surrounded, my father's booking it to the horses. And so we are surrounded by ghosts. We're going to try to run. Well, let's see how many first, okay? So is it more than 1? Yes, with a twist. Okay. Okay, so we're going to roll the feat die 3 times. See yes with a twist. I wonder if I did... Oh, no, it's just not going to let me do 3. So we have to do it individually. Okay. 3, 3. All right, so 3, 3. Disguise. Interesting. And then we do 2 more sets. 3 and 5. Whoops, wrong one. 3, 5. Evil. Okay, just kind of fitting so far. Sometimes it's weird how the dice will just kind of line up with what you're thinking. All right, so then we do 1 more set. A 6 and a 2. 6 and a 2. Might. Disguise evil might. Command bold death, disguise evil might. So, the answer was yes. That there was more than 2. So it was with a twist. Let's see if there's more than 3. There's not. So there's not more than 3. Is there more than 1? Yes, with a twist. We didn't ask if there was more than... Well, let's say that was 1 for more than 2, so it's no. So there's just 2 of them, right? So Eridan, we're going to put him over here. Well, there's 2 ghosts, undead. We'll just say wraiths, right? As he gets on our horses and he flees. And he's heading south. So we're surrounded. Well, not really surrounded because it's 2 and 2. But I'm going to try to escape. Now with this, we're almost done with the video. Sorry, I know it's a little bit longer of one, but it just got a little bit more intense. So with the Strider mode, you get a special kind of thing. No, it's going to be at the top, I believe. You're Adventurer. Adventuring phase. Let's actually open this up. Combat. So in combat, you can do something to try to run away. Skirmish stance. To escape from combat, roll your ranged attack without losing 1d on the roll. If you succeed, do not inflict any damage. Okay, so we're going to go skirmish stance. We're going to start a combat. So we need to put... Oh, we need to put us in combat. So it's going to be me. I'm in combat. They're in combat. They're in combat. Why are you not working? There we go. So let me actually move the map a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So they're kind of stopping us. We'll say it's 1-1, right? Because that just makes sense. So it's really me versus 1. So actually that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this one out and it's just me versus 1. Now you typically get an opening volley, but we're going to say that because it was such a surprise that to both sides that neither of us get to do a opening volley. Where's my combat? There we go. Alright, so opening volley. We're going to begin. We're going to go to round 2. Well, that should have been round 1. Okay, so I attack first. Now I wanted to go back because I'm just trying to escape. I need to catch up with my father. My goal is to break the fight and try to get to my horse to chase after him because he's on the other one. So, ranged combat, you fight on the move, navigating. You can only attack your adversaries using ranged weapons. For ranged rolls, to escape, roll your ranged attack without losing 1d on the roll. If you succeed, you do not inflict any damage, but you instead leave the battlefield. Otherwise, you remain engaged. So, right here, bows, which I have 2 and 12. 3. That's tough. I'm not getting support. I'll roll. Please tell me that was a success. That is barely a success. Oh man, that was so close. Okay, so I successfully leave, but I shout to Kyrian to gather the others and follow me to... Let me see if I would know this. Well, it'd be a lore check. So we're going to do a lore check to see if I might know. Hopefully it's a yes. Great success. So I anticipate that he's trying to go to the Barrow Downs because that's where a lot of evil spirits are. So he can easily command them and create his army there. So plus it's close to his wife's death resting place, if you will. So I kind of feel like it's pertinent and it's kind of important to that area. So I know he's going there. I'm going to be chasing after him, leaving Kyrian fighting these two and hopefully getting help and meeting me in the Barrow Downs. And that is actually where I think we're going to leave things off, is kind of on a cliffhanger where my father is most likely headed towards the Barrow Downs. And then I'm going to chase him down and Kyrian is going to go do whatever he's got to do and hopefully get away from these guys. But that went really well, I thought. Better than I expected. It's always hard. Okay, I don't want to say the word always. It's very difficult because you want to GM, but you don't want to GM. You want to let the dice decide, but you don't want to decide, but you also want there to be a nice story crafting. So it's a delicate balance, and I've never had to do this before. So if you're like, hey, I don't think he's doing this very well, or if he's being too railroady or whatnot, please feel free to let me know in the comments. It's not going to hurt my feelings. It's the first time I'm trying something, so getting feedback of any kind is welcome. If you enjoyed this video, I do really hope that you subscribe, like it, share it, come back, watch the other ones. I think the next episode is going to be our ending, hopefully. That's what's kind of the hope. So 1 to 2 more videos, and the story of Secrets of Angmar will be over. And Baranor's journey, chasing his father with the blade of Angmar. It's getting good. It's getting good. I'm enjoying it. So that's all I have for today. If you want to catch more, let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the comments below. But until next time, just play.